Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a palette tag, talking about all about my eyeshadow palettes. This tag was started by the wonderful Samantha and Allie Glines here on YouTube. They did a collab with this eyeshadow palette tag, and so a lot of other creators have been doing it as well, and I thought, why not hop on the train while it's still running? So I'm going to do this tag as well. It's basically a tag that kind of got influenced from TikTok, just showing your different palettes in these different categories that match the question in the tag. So I'm going to be doing this today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get started with this eyeshadow tag. Again, started by Samantha and Allie Glines. Hopefully this angle's good. I'm starting with a new camera. It's not new, but I just got batteries for it. And sorry if my hair looks a little wonky. This is a wig actually. I'm trying out different wigs so I don't have to keep messing with my hair, and I can just kind of keep it like natural and protected and stuff. So I'm working on making the wigs look good. But anyways, not to keep talking on and on, let's go ahead and get started with the tag questions. So the first one is show your newest eyeshadow palette, and that one for me is from the brand Plurred. It is, I believe, an indie brand, and they have a few things on their site, not a whole lot, but this palette I found online. I think it was either on Instagram or Etsy or something, and I just loved it. The outside as well as the inside with the color scheme, which is a pinky blue color scheme, and I just really was drawn to this, so I ended up buying it, and it is my newest palette to my collection so far. And I'm waiting to try it out. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm excited. To counteract that, the oldest palettes in my collection. Now, you're supposed to pick one for these categories, but I cheated a little bit because I really don't know which one is older. So I have two here. I have the Afterglow palette from Bad Habit, which used to be a dupe brand, and inside it is a Sunset Warm palette that looks like this. I used this so much last year, and it's one of my first palettes, as well as the Magnified Crimson edition from Rimmel. This is one of my first palettes ever. It is this beautiful pinky drugstore brand I used so much last year. This shade right there has such a dip in it, and so I wanted to share that one as well because I don't know which of these are actually the oldest. And I did also declutter a lot of palettes recently, which might have been older than these, but as of right now, these two are the oldest in my collection. Alright, the next one in this tag is to show your most expensive palette, and I just recently got this from Pat McGrath. She has this is like luxury makeup, going into that luxury price range, and I have the Mothership 5 palette, which looks like this on the outside, and open it up, you have 10 shades. This palette retails for $125, but I got it on sale for about $97, $96. But still, even on sale, it's my most expensive palette in my collection. And then to counteract the most expensive, what is your most affordable eyeshadow palette? And that one would definitely be, okay, so I first thought that my most expensive, my least expensive would be my Bite eyeshadow palettes from e.l.f. These retail for $3, but I actually remembered I have one that is even cheaper than that, and that is from Amuse Cosmetics. This brand is sold online on Shop Miss A, but also I found this one in City Trends, and they have some pretty nice quality for $1. So this palette is a green-blue palette, and its retail price is literally $1. So this is the cheapest palette I have in my collection, and it actually has some pretty nice pigment. So for $1, I mean, you can't beat that. And so that is my least expensive palette in my collection. The next one, it's asking to show your everyday palettes. For this one, I kind of struggled because I wear kind of just what I want every day. I mean, if I like to color, I know a lot of people for like their everyday, they might do something more neutral, but I like to pop on color for my everyday. And so I kind of cheated again. I picked a couple different palettes that I loved last year and that I used them like consistently throughout the days, throughout the months last year. So the ones I picked, well, okay, maybe not from last year. This one is not from last year, but the first two I picked were from last year. So this one is the Jackie Aina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Their collab with Jackie Aina. This one I used a lot last year, so I figured everyday palette, this one was one, because you can do a more glam look, you can do a more neutral look, you can create so many different looks with this palette, and it's such a gorgeous palette, so well done and great quality. So this is my first everyday palette. I love it because you can do something for the day or something for the night. My next one is one that came out again last year from one of my favorite brands, which is Colourpop the Midnight Masquerade palette, which is a collab with Disney. And this one has a lot of great neutrals, but also pops of color, and I think it's great for every day. So that one is for every day. And then last but not least, this one I got actually this year, I believe. Not last year, because it just came out, I believe, this year. But it's the Nude Mood, and I picked this one because it is a neutral palette, and I think it's great for every day if I'm going to do that for work. And although I love to wear color to work too on my eyes, I think this one is great for work as well. And it's just, if you want to go neutral, something just simple and easy, but also beautiful, the Nude Mood palette for Colourpop is a great one. Right, after the everyday palettes, the next one on here is your most colorful palette. And this one, I thought of the Burger palette first, because I do own that one. But then I was thinking this one is definitely more colorful for Moria. It is the Dreamscape palette, and it is basically a rainbow palette, but it's done in a very unique way. But you still have all your basic rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and purple. But you have also some pinks. You have like some kind of like a berry shade there. You have some white and black. So this one is definitely my most colorful palette in my collection. And then look at the outside. It's absolutely gorgeous. It matches what the inside is. It's super beautiful packaging. And so that's the most colorful palette starting off in my collection right now. Going on to the next one, it says show your smallest palettes. And I knew the bite-sized elf palettes were going to make a reappearance. I thought these were the most affordable, but they weren't. But they definitely are the smallest palettes I have in my collection. So this one here is $3, and both of them are $3, and they're quads, but they're super duper tiny, super cute, and also very good quality. So I have the jalapeno one, hot jalapeno, and I also have the acai or acai one, which is like purple, kind of lavender-ish colors, which are very beautiful and great quality. So those are the smallest palettes I have in my collection. And then to counter that one, the biggest palettes I have in my collection, these also kind of, this was hard because I have two here. So the first one is from Plurred Cosmetics, the manga anime palette, and it's like pretty long compared to this one. So that's why I picked it. But it has 35 shades in here, mostly neutrals, if I can get it open. And it's really large. It's a very big palette once you open it up. And you see all of those different shadows in there, whatever way you turn it. So I picked this one. I couldn't pick between them because this one's longer, but the BH Pro Studio Ultimate Artistry Shadow Palette is wider, and also this one has more shadows in it. This one has 42 shadows inside, which is kind of crazy. So 42 different shadows in here. So if I had to say by shade, amount of shades, this one definitely will be the biggest with 42, but if I have to say by size or lengthwise, this one will be the biggest with 35. So those are the biggest palettes in my collection. Right along, the next category is show the palette with the best memory. Again, I can't follow directions, and I always tell my students follow directions, but I'm not following directions in this video. Sorry, it's my video. I've got to go ahead and go with what my head and my heart is telling me. So the palettes with the best memory, for me, I chose 4 different ones, and that's because all of these were gifts, and for me that's really special. So I'm going to share them with you quickly, not to waste any more time. So the first one is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. This was a gift for Christmas from my younger sister, and I just love this palette because it was a gift, one, and I do really love this color scheme and the shadows in here. So that's the first one that was gifted to me by my younger sister. This one was gifted to me by my older sister for Christmas. It is the e.l.f. Rose Gold Nude palette, and it is such a beautiful palette. Actually, I just love these shadows in here. Really good quality and super cute with the looks you can come up with. The next one was a gift from my mom. It is from Storybook Cosmetics, the fairy tale little book ones. She knows I love to read, so this is right up my alley. I love that it's shaped like a book. And then it has Briar Rose, which is the Sleeping Beauty story. Absolutely adore this, and it looks like that on the inside. So I got this one from my mom. So that's a great memory. And then last but not least, this one is from my other younger sister who got this for me for my birthday. It is the Game of Thrones Urban Decay palette, and she knows I loved Game of Thrones, and she got this for me from her job at Nordstrom, and I just absolutely love this palette. So those are my 4 palettes that are the best memory because they're from my loved ones, and I just think that's amazing. Next, a palette that is worth the hype. Okay, so I'm kind of cheating again. I'm sorry. You know, you can go ham in the comments. But the next one that I think is definitely worth the hype is the Melt Gemini palette. I got this one based on who I watch. The people that I watch on YouTube hyped this up. So I guess the most hype palette would be based on who's hyping it up. And so a lot of the YouTubers I watch hyped this palette up as one of their favorites. And I have to agree, it's a really nice palette. I think the shadows inside are absolutely gorgeous. You have these beautiful grungy greens. And every time I use it, I get a beautiful look. So this one is worth the hype. And then the next one I'm going to say is actually brand new. I just got it today. And it's not really a palette, but they are single shades. And a lot of the YouTubers I watch rave about Terra Moon's Cosmetics and hype up these single shades, the duochromes and the multichromes so much. And I would have to agree. I used this today for the first time, and I absolutely love these duochrome shades. And I have to say they are definitely worth the hype. Alright. Next is a palette that is not worth the hype, and again, this is from watching some YouTubers I like to watch on YouTube. A lot of my favorite YouTubers on YouTube really hyped up the Creepy Cute palette, and I do like this palette. It's just that for my skin tone, I don't find that these shadows, which are pastel, they show up super great on my skin tone, and so a lot of the YouTubers I watch that hyped it up do have lighter skin tone, but I figured, you know, I can make it work, and I can definitely make it work. It's a nice palette. The formula is good. The shadows are absolutely beautiful, but it's just not exactly what I imagined it to be. So this one I would say is not worth the hype of, you know, the hype that I saw. The last two to finish out this video. First one is show a favorite palette from my favorite brand. My favorite brand I would have to say right now is Colourpop, and one of my favorite palettes from them is the It's My Pleasure palette. It is the monochromatic purple palette in their 9-pan series of monochromatic palettes, and I absolutely love this. Even though I don't wear it every day, it is a favorite because I just love the purples and I love how they look on the eye, and I've got quite a few significant dips in this palette. So this is definitely a favorite palette from a favorite brand. If you love purples, I definitely would recommend this. And then last but not least, show your most used palette, and this one is also one of the monochromatic palettes from Colourpop. It is the Ooh La La palette, which is the monochromatic pink palette. You can probably see how used it is. The lettering is even starting to come off. I just love this palette. I love pinks on the eye. I think this palette is absolutely gorgeous, and all the shades in here are absolutely amazing. I have quite a few dips in some of these shades like Tickled, Softcore, Poodle, Big Sugar have significant dips in there, and I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but they do. And I use this palette so much. I think it's definitely one of my most used palettes as of right now because it's a favorite. So finally, we're done with this video. I love this tag. This was so much fun to look through my collection and try to figure out which one goes with each one. Hopefully you liked this video as well. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I do videos about makeup, and I also do videos about movies and entertainment. So I'll link them down in the description box for you guys to check out. And definitely come back and, you know, be a part of the family. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and goodbye. Adios.